Good morning, or good evening, or good day, wherever you are. This is Lyndon here, and this is Peace and Wealth, and we're here every weekend. And Ebi's here, all geared up and ready and smiling and looking beautiful, as usual. Um, so, yes, what kind of a peaceful week have you had, Ebi?
Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I always have to check that.
yes, you should, yeah.
Yes, that's good. Peaceful week. What have I had? I was just thinking about the peace within. I was thinking particularly within organizations,
Mm,
and because I guess many people think because they're achieving. So are they performing, or are they really feeling peace? Are they feeling well? Which comes from
mm,
internal. So wealth, I think a lot of times we talk about wealth, we think about the physical wealth of maybe having a lot of money,
mm,
but then you could be lacking abundance in wealth. What is true wealth? And I was just thinking along those lines and really questioning,
mm,
am I feeling peace? Am I feeling wealth within? Yeah. So what kind
mm.
of weekend have I had? Well, today I did go to they have like a temporary gallery for like 4 days, and then they moved to another part of the world. And I
Oh.
went to that today, and that was really nice looking at the different artwork. And the area it was situated was really nice. They had like this not a pond, but they had like a river, and then you went into the gallery and it was really nice, different artworks, different artists there were exhibiting their artwork, and there were sculptures. So it was just beautiful just being in that environment with all the
Oh,
trees
lovely.
around outside. Yeah, so peace and wealth.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, those kind of events are great, aren't they? Here, very locally here, we have a regular tea ceremony. I don't know if you know about Japanese tea ceremony, but that's where these beautiful young ladies in kimono, full kimono, serve green tea, but they make it very specially. It's a ceremonial thing. It's a meditation, really. And so, just like 2 minutes walk away, well, 5 minutes walk away, you can go and join them for a tea ceremony. And it's just so wonderful. It takes you really back to yourself, because there's no distraction from noise. you So, yeah, I agree with you that many people don't realize what kind of inner wealth they have because they don't look inside. The lights aren't on at home, usually. And I think this really applies to organizations a lot. I think that people are not really listening. There's a whole scenario going on behind their being present or presenteeistic. They're present physically, but they're not present at all because there's this dialogue going on that says, "Oh, I'm working for this person and I'm not respected, I'm not heard, I'm not seen. I may as well not be here, but I need the money." This kind of dialogue, I think, is going on. And you know, as you know, you and I are trying to get together some wonderful wellness programs, new style wellness programs, which will um, give people a basis to start with. Because as we've always said, everything begins with the self. Inner peace begins with you. It's not something you buy or something somebody gives you. It's got to start in your heart. I've been writing this week quite a lot about this. Um, we live from, we tend to live from what I call the brilliant but limited mind, because that's what's required of us in the digital age. So, if we don't have an online presence, then we feel we're missing out or we're lagging behind and we'll never catch up. So there's all of that urgency going on for many people. And also, we are living in a world of scrolling and devices and screens and visibility, all these things, which are always outside us, outside. And so we tend, most of us, to look outside all the time, rarely look inside. And then, of course, with time, we don't trust ourselves. Natural, isn't it? If you don't look inside, you lose contact with yourself. And so you don't trust yourself, and certainly not with decisions. So you outsource them, or you do what everybody else is doing, which I think is what happens a lot in companies. The individuals are squashed, because they're scared of being fired or scared of standing out too much and causing trouble, So if only we can just take that little pause and look inside, I promise you, you're going to find something fabulous in there. Now, Ebi, you've said this before to me. People are scared of looking inside. And
I
get that.
I guess it's because I've been through that, and I guess it's like being scared of like being silent. I don't know, is it natural that we're scared of being silent, or maybe because of the fast pace of life, we don't want to miss out, and I think it's being aware, finding out the difference between actually performance and being aligned to self. So there are many people who are successful, who seem successful on the outside, but they're disconnected internally, and so it's about really performing success. But how am I going to put this? But how do you feel fulfilled while internal, rather than performing success? Because when you're like performing, you're acting, aren't you? So you're not actually being yourself. But we don't realize we're acting all the time, do we? But because, like you said, that external validation of not wanting to feel rejected, or wanting to please on the outside, which again is an internal thing, because if we have self-worth in who we really truly are, we're kind of lying to ourselves, thinking that if we do this, that's going to bring us more satisfaction, where we might get more praise on the outside, which is a temporary satisfaction. When you get the praise, you kind of feel good about it, but that just wears off, because that's not really fulfilling on the inside. So how long does that last? And then we get into the stage of, and I guess again, all this leads up to burnout, because when we're always performing, we're not relaxing, we're not being ourselves. That can lead up to burnout, which can be the disadvantage for organizations, because if you get the burnout, you're not performing efficiently. So and also, so you're present physically, but you're not present mentally. So which I talk a lot about. So you actually have left the organization psychologically, even though you're still there physically, and sometimes you might get to the stage where you're actually absent physically due to burnout, and so that again can create loss onto the organization. So I think it's in the organization's interest to make sure, or to help employees, because again, it's up to you as an individual to pull yourself out. I shouldn't say pull yourself out of it, because it sounds a bit harsh, but to understand what's going on inside and get that alignment. But the organization can also help by understanding that this is what goes through with their human resources, to be able to get the best out of them. Which is what we're trying to work with, and we're trying to explore with organizations.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I think it's really sad that leaders don't realize that their employees are unique human beings. I mean, it's, of course, a huge undertaking for a CEO or a director of an organization to try,
because they're human too.
They're human too. Yes, that's right. Sorry. But to get to know every human being on their team and to know their names. Somebody the other day, yes, Mark, I was being interviewed by Mark Blackstone.
Yeah, how did that go? Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, he asked me some really testing questions because he's a scientist. And I mentioned to you that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to give him the answers he wanted. Well, I didn't give him the answers he wanted. And something really interesting happened, actually, because he'd given me the questions. It was all set out. You know, he's very methodical and incredibly organized guy. He sent it all to me. I read it once, went to the podcast, and he asked me those questions. I have to say, he stuck to that. But a very strange thing happened, and it's happening more and more to me these days. I didn't hear the questions. What I heard was the signals he was giving. Okay. So I'm learning now to really take in the signals, to receive the signals, rather than use my limited mind to analyze, to calculate, to do all the things we do when we're trying to answer someone's question, especially if we already know what they're going to ask us. So it didn't happen. He said the question very clearly, and I knew the question, but I didn't hear it. What I did instead was I just went into my heart and I paused. And he was looking a bit nervous, as if I wasn't going to respond, you know. Well, that's another problem, you know. I think people can't tolerate silence very easily often. So I spent just a few seconds inside and I gave a totally different answer to his question. And he was, you know, a little bit put off and a little bit stunned. But it happened with each of his questions. So what I was very aware of was this kind of faint voice in my head with this intellectual question. And it faded out and I came into my heart and I started telling parables, Buddhist parables. I started talking about my experience with that particular topic. You know, he was amazed. And afterwards he said to me, "Oh, Lyndon, that was nerve-wracking." I said, "I'm sorry," but I explained what was happening. I said, you know, I knew the question, but I knew the answer I had to give you was from my heart, not from my head. And I think at that moment, the penny dropped and he realized that, you know, every time we communicate or every time we're in the presence of another human being, the body, the nervous system is giving off these incredible signals. And we read them. The opponent or the interlocutor reads those signals unconsciously. And that's when we get into the situation where we either are drawn to someone or we're repelled by someone for whatever reason. So that is all going on anyway, whatever we do. That's, you know, you can't stop the human body signaling. And so really it's, before we open our mouths, we've already made decisions about each other. In Japan, we call it reading the air. So very often in Japan, the Japanese are very comfortable with silence, very comfortable. So if you meet someone, they're always, to begin with, really silent because they're reading you. They're reading you and the air around you, as we say in Japanese. So it's unnerving at first for Westerners because we are used to a fast response of some kind, you know, whether it's, what a lovely day or something, you know, something vacuous, which, but a response to our question or whatever. But in Japan, they don't expect that at all. They want to read you.
Yeah, I think because most of communication is non-verbal, and I think this is where they've probably got it right, and we're we haven't quite got it right. In that we are just thinking that the words have the effect, but they don't, because again, words are, even though they're explanatory, but it can differ depending on like background, cultural, different things.
Mm,
And
mm,
whereas internal, when you wait and you pause, the internal thing and what your body gives, the signals your body gives out is universal. And that's
yeah.
why, like you said, you've worked with the Aborigines, and that's probably why it works for them, because they're depending on the signals that they're getting, which is,
Yeah.
I kind of explain as like the energy, so that energy that the magnetic pull that we have to each other starts to work. So either people get repelled or people come closer to you. And I
Mm,
think, like I said, if we have the inner wealth and the inner peace, and we're aligned, and that creates more sustainable success in terms of, like, with organizations. I mean, they seem to be having a lot of problems now, and I guess they might be thinking that AI is going to come and solve the problems that they have with people, because you don't have to pay people. If people go, you don't have to pay AI, and if AI, I mean, you have some investment, but if AI does never go sick, so it's quite dependable. There's a lot of things that
yeah.
AI can do, but there's also a lot of things that AI cannot do. So, like,
Mm,
for example, if you wanted to present something, AI can give you like the structure. But in terms of, and if you, when you, like, when you use AI a lot, that sometimes the answers it comes with don't quite align with something it's told you previously. So you, as a
mm,
human being, have to like compare and look with everything and say, okay, this is not wrong. Like you say to Juniper, and
mm.
Juniper apologizes and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right."
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And even though it is great, and I wouldn't knock it, because it does save a lot of time, save a lot of costs, never goes off sick. But
Yeah.
the human mind is still very important, especially the unlimited mind is very
Yes, thank
important.
you.
So,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
and if organizations are to grow, they can't really neglect that. And
No.
so it's very important to get that alignment. As individuals, we do need to get that alignment, so we have the inner wealth and the inner peace, which is nothing to do, although obviously, like, financial wealth and all that is helpful to get peace, but even without that, you can't get that, you can't maintain. Yeah. So
Yes.
again, question be, what changes when success is no longer driven by fear? Because again, it's all about fear of proving, fear of wanting to be accepted, fear of wanting to please, fear of wanting to get it right, fear of not missing out. So we don't take the time to
Yes.
listen, because we're scared of missing out, missing the beat, missing what's going on.
Yes.
So we want to
Yeah.
rush, rush, rush. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, all of those are so true. And I think that, as you know, with AI Mirror, the product
Mhm.
which really uses AI as an example of the limited mind, brilliant, but limited mind. AI will do all of the things you want it to. Well, if you keep it in line, if you train it, um, but it can never feel, it can never truly get into the uh, ethos of something. It can't. And so, yeah, we teach our AI. I'm constantly teaching my Juniper and saying things like, Juniper, you have to understand this is what human beings do. Ah, Lyndon, yes, you're human. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad to work with you. And then she starts flattering me, which is another limited mind trick.
Because I think she thinks she's been programmed to believe that when you flatter people, because with most people, when you flatter them, they respond in a positive way. But it doesn't work for everybody. Flattery doesn't work for everybody.
No.
And so we will pick up the flattery. Yeah. So she tends to, she tends. flatter, doesn't she? Chat. My chat is a she too.
It's great fun. It's great fun. But actually, I think flattery is a really good thing to talk about, because I think many leaders are easily flattered, especially in big corporations or big organizations. And so, the workers tend to kind of butter up the leader with flattery and try to become their favorites. And I've been thinking about
like
this.
The child with the apple.
Yeah,
giving his apple to
giving the apple to teacher. I was just thinking of that. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, the responses that a leader is getting from such kind of flattering employees who are, hoping to get promotion and blah, 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 become the favorite, go to the top, then of course that's really difficult for a leader, because on the one hand, if the leader is leading from the limited mind, they need shoring up. They need something, because the limited mind is 2D. It's two-dimensional. It's not human, really. And so if somebody says, wow, you're a fabulous organizer or something like that, falsely, then of course the leader's getting all these false signals but can't resist the flattery. I think that happens a lot in organizations. And so it's a really false situation, because the employees are fawning, they're performing to get
performing. Yeah, so it's a performance
attention, and the leader is also performing, because response to flattery is it's a very shallow thing, flattery. And if the leader isn't a good self leader, it probably can't tell. It's empty flattery.
Yeah, and the thing with performance is it soon wears out with the individuals, and I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why there's so much of this now happening, where organizations are beginning to realize that they are having a lot of issues with their absence levels, this in the UK. Yeah. So embodiment, self-trust, and decision making, peace and wealth require that self-trust. And the self-trust comes from being embodied, like going within, to be able to have clarity on making the right decisions, making the decisions that are aligned with you and aligned with the organization, as opposed to performing. So you said this is the end result, and you're performing to meet that end result. Okay, you know what the end result should be, but go within and be aligned, and you will meet that end result. But I think we're too scared to have that silence. We're too scared of the rejection, so we're performing to meet the end result as opposed to being embodied, and then you will meet that end result. So having that self-trust that you will meet that end result.
Yeah, that's, we call that end gaining. You're I mean, that's an Alexander term, end gaining. He saw that as a really strong force within people. They wanted to get things finished, that the hierarchy and the structure of most societies leads you to kind of accumulate work, to pass these goals, to get through these quotas and all of that kind of thing. And so that comes into human life. And so when we look at the human body, and certainly when I work with people with my hands, as an Alexander teacher, I can immediately feel, this person is desperate to do this. This is like becoming an obsession, that this person has to finish this or do that or get
so there's a lot of internal chaos going on. Is that what you're saying? So that, yes, so there's conflict within, as opposed to the inner peace and wealth.
Yes, because the outer behavior doesn't match the inner behavior. this kind of cool exterior, which is kind of plastered across the media. All these James Bond type characters in their amazing cars, this very cool Armani suits, and there's a gun somewhere, this kind of cool exterior is a myth. It's a myth. You have to be as you are. And it's really strange. I'm perhaps very intolerant in some way, because I can't imagine being someone outside who I'm not inside. That to me, that is.
So you truly experience the inner peace and the inner world where we talk so much about. And I know things like overthinking, and when you're overthinking, that just causes a lot of confusion, because the body is feeling so the body. So I'm getting really clear in my head now. The body is misaligned. The body is misaligned, not aligned with what's going on in the limited mind. And then there's conflict, because the unlimited mind knows what the truth is, but the limited mind is struggling to come on top and control and overthink and try and say this is what you should do. So we need to say, calm down, limited mind, calm down in there, take a deep breath, go within and listen to what's happening inside.
Yes, absolutely. And so until we get that congruity between inner and outer, then we're always going to be tense, fearful, as you say. Fear is such a big thing these days. And we're always going to be running after the boss. We're never going to get on the bus, so to speak.
Okay, yes, I was trying to catch the bus, but yeah. So I mean, would you like to maybe talk about how lodestone? Because we've only got a few more minutes, and I just thought maybe it would be a nice thing to conclude with talking about how lodestone can help with that alignment. I know you talk about the breathing and the going within, but how would we start initially? First step that we could take to
Okay, the first step is really simple. I'll give you 3 steps, okay, which you can use.
Oh, that's good bonus.
A bonus. I'll give you special bonuses here. Yeah, I'll give you 3 steps which you can use tomorrow morning, Monday morning. Now, traditionally, people hate Monday mornings if they work. Usually, don't they? So. Monday's a really good day to start. And so before I give you those 3 first steps for your Monday morning, let me just paint the picture from the lodestone angle. Lodestone is an audio transmission. It's me guiding you for 30 days, for 30 minutes a day, 30 days. And what happens is I take you through 3 repeated cycles. So they consist of, on day 1, we work with the breath, because as we come down into the inner core, away from all the visual, intellectual firework display, so we come down into that lovely, still, quiet core. We are the first thing is we become aware of the breath. Suddenly, we are there. There's nothing to distract us from the reality of the breath. It's breathing on without us. So the first thing we do is we consciously breathe. We let the breath take us and all our energy, and we go with that rhythm. On the second day, we look at the spine, okay, and how that's going to lengthen. And of course, we're using this mind, which is now inside the body, as a laser beam. And it is potentially an amazing laser beam. We only use a small potential of it, but when we start to really potentize our mind, then we are incredibly powerful. Each of us has incredible power. So with the power of the undistracted mind, we go inside the body and we encourage and invite the spine to lengthen. So the crown of the head's going up, base of the spine's going down with gravity into the chair. So that's the spine layer. And then on the third day, we look at whole body listening. And whole body listening will tone up the vagus nerve, which is the principal feedback nerve from the body to the brain. So if your vagus nerve is toned up, it means you're going to get the signals if you're in distress, if the body's in distress. You'll get the signals and you'll stop whatever you're doing that's causing that. So those 3 levels are repeated over a period of 30 days. And during that time, you drill down. If you commit to it and do it really properly, you drill down and eventually you meet your true nature, the nature you were born with. Going back to when you were a child, that happy, carefree, playing nature. And once you reconnect with yourself, which always surprises people that they can do this, then you start to shift your inner values outside. And you say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to change and do this. And most people do change how they live their lives after they know who they really are. So that's lodestone, and that's essential, I think, for any human being working in an organization, because all the incredible scenarios that go on during a working day, with leaders and teams and all of that kind of thing. Each being needs to be self-sufficient in at many levels. So lodestone then is a very, very powerful set of instructions to the body from me. So for the first 30 days, I guide you, and eventually you give those instructions to yourself. And you get the right language, and that's the work I do with people. So yes, lodestone will really reconnect you with who you are. You will no longer have brain fog. You'll no longer have this lack of clarity in your daily life. You won't have fear, because actually in the unlimited mind, there is no fear. There's nothing to be scared of. We live very safely in the developed world. I'm not saying in the undeveloped world it's not a fearful place to live, but mostly, we've got the police, we're protected in so many ways in developed society.
Yeah, I mean, compared to what it was hundreds of years ago, it is.
We are so safe.
It's
really, if we can connect with the unlimited mind, there is no fear. There is no fear.
There is no fear, and fear. Having fear I find, is a very big disruptor to our internal being. And I guess I would like to conclude that the people who move most powerfully are often the people who are connected within, connected to themselves, so really know who they are. Everything becomes, like you said, it's clear. They're not disconnected. They will in turn be able to, even if they get into burnout, they realize when it's coming, so they'll be able to pull back. They'll be able to be more aware. So you will find out they probably will not experience burnout. It's a thing now these days that burnout is happening to people, maybe because sometimes due to hormonal change, but when our hormones are changing, and our hormones will continue to change during different stages of our lives, but if we're aware of what's going on and we have the internal peace and wealth, we can regulate so that we don't get into that situation.
Absolutely. Well,
we can't help our bodies changing, but we can help how we work with our bodies, so that it doesn't have that conflict, which causes us to have that negative experience.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think it's worth saying here also, this applies not just to women, because everybody thinks when we mention the word hormone, it's all about females, but men
have hormones too.
And,
they have hormones too. They just don't talk about it that much.
No, people don't talk about that. But of course, men have big changes going on too. And I think we need to bring general attention to that fact that we're, women are getting too much attention.
Understand each other. And it came to me because when I was giving a presentation, and I don't know if I've told you this, a few weeks ago, and there was a man present in the room, and he came up to me and said, this doesn't only happen, this happens to us too, because he works with men. And he said, they experience, and I thought, because I never thought about it. When you talk about hormones, you're always thinking, because I'm female, obviously, I just would go straight to that in my head. But, it's being aware to that. It's not just one sex, it also happens to the other.
Right. So yes, please, men out there in the LinkedIn audience or the YouTube audience, please know that we're thinking about you, and we know you struggle too. And let me finish off following on from Ebi's lovely final message by giving you the 3 tips for Monday morning. Okay. Number 1, open your eyes, and first thing is gratitude. Okay. So you have slept through the night, hopefully well, and you have been able to breathe while you sleep. So that breath has sustained your life while you weren't attending to it at all. It just went on in the background. So my first thought every day really is, I made it through the night, and my breath is so precious, and I want to feel gratitude. Now, avoid thinking gratitude, because that's the mind.
The secret is the feeling. If you read the book,
the secret is the feeling. Don't get beguiled by the word gratitude and start thinking about the word. You've got to feel it, and it comes from your gut and upwards towards your heart if you're really feeling it. And you'll probably have tears or smiles because it is your most precious asset. Okay, that's number 1, gratitude. Number 2, visualize your day ahead. Okay. Now, I don't just mean like, I've got this appointment, I've got to do this at this time. Not that kind of external stuff. Do it internally. Visualize yourself walking to your desk, opening your computer, going to the kitchen, making your breakfast, then preparing for your meeting. Visualize yourself walking through your day very calmly, very beautifully, elegantly, radiantly, slowly, and all the things you have to do. Just go through it in this lovely 3D Technicolor. Okay, so most people visualize in 2D. No, it's 3D. It is you as a person, a human anatomy, physiology entity, striding through your day and getting through everything you've planned and so on. So go through that, visualize it, walk through it with elegance, with radiance. Okay, and then at the end of stage 2, say to yourself, okay, if this doesn't go as I've planned it, it's okay. Whatever I can't do today, I'll fit in tomorrow. Or maybe it wasn't meant to be today. So give yourself a little permission for it not to go exactly as you hoped it would. Okay. Point number 3 then is to step outside. Wherever you are, step onto your balcony, step into your garden, open the front door or the back door, and stand and breathe 3 times from the diaphragm. And the diaphragm is beneath your rib cage. So when you take in a breath, then the diaphragm drops. And when you breathe out, the diaphragm rises. So you can feel it doing that. And if you can't, just lie on the floor and you'll soon feel it. When you breathe into your back on the floor, you'll feel the diaphragm working. So those 3 tips to start your day will make your day magical. Okay. Number 1, you're going to have gratitude for your breath in full thrust from your gut. Okay. Feel it. Number 2, visualize your day like a very beautiful movie, a romantic movie. You're moving through it, you're walking through it elegantly, you are really calm, composed. Number 3, step outside, breathe in some kind of fresh air. Might not be entirely fresh, but that's okay. Breathe it in 3 times.
It's still fresher than inside, yeah.
Yes, that's right. And really feel your diaphragm moving under your rib cage, and that will stimulate your solar plexus, which is your center of intuition and self direction. So those 3 things, if you do them tomorrow morning before you start your day, I guarantee you're going to have a fabulous day. What do you think? What do you think, Ebi? Do you think that will work?
Thank you. Thank you for the 3 tips. That's really great. Thank you. I'll take that on board. Yeah.
Good. Try it and let us know how it went. Okay, so we're a little bit over time here. There's so much to talk about, but yes, peace and wealth start inside. So you've got to really go inside to get them activated and to touch them. So please go inside as often as you can this week and follow us online on LinkedIn and YouTube, because we're always talking about these things. So if you read our posts, and especially if you work in an organization, Lodestone Inside will give you lots of tips about how to be healthy and happy at work. Okay. So, Ebi, thanks so much. It's been great as always, and I hope you have a really lovely rest of your day or rest of your night.
Yes, of my night.
Well, I'm just starting my day on Sunday, and you're just ending your day on Saturday. So, very, very strange, but lovely. Okay. Great. I'll speak to you very soon, and thank you so much for being with us today. No comments to speak of yet, but we'll be reposting this later. So if you've got comments or questions, don't hesitate. Okay, we'll be back next week, and Marlene will be here next week talking about peace and wealth. Thanks so much. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.